For the Tabletop Galaxy podcast, the Broken Space story arc, this is the Session 1 crew report for the Second Sunrise. I'm Zarko Cruz, at your service. Hello everyone and welcome to today's DnDaily vlog. I want to talk about our podcast for Second Sunrise, our cruise, the Second Sunrise of the Second Sunrise. That's the name of our ship. We are playing Wednesday night. We have the second session scheduled for Wednesday night, so I thought it was high time that I did sort of my recap slash thoughts and insights into our first session. I listened to the game again. I listened to our session 1 again. It's posted on YouTube now. You can find that on One Crit Wonders channel and on the Tabletop Galaxy as well. If you search for us, you'll find us. We're on Twitter. It's easy to find. And wow, it was such a thrilling game that we had a couple weeks ago. So I'm absolutely ecstatic about this Wednesday's game, of course, as well as the fact that Halcyon Days, our sister crew, is playing their session 2 tomorrow as well. So lots of good things happening this week in a galaxy far, far away or something like that. So let me give you a quick little bit of information first, and then I'll talk briefly about the characters, our amazing GM, and just some fun random stuff from Session 1 and what I'm looking forward to Session 2. So let's go right from the beginning. First and foremost, what is this? Okay, Tabletop Galaxy is a new sort of podcast group that we formed. There was a few of us that were interested in getting something going where we would be able to not only play the Fantasy Flight Systems game that is revolving around and set in the Star Wars universe, but also be able to just kind of like generally geek out about Star Wars, so playing a game for Star Wars RPG and also just talking about Star Wars and being Star Wars nerds like we are. And so we decided to create a group, and it has been called Tabletop Galaxy. This is the name of our podcast group. We are going to run different story arcs with different DMs and GMs. I guess GMs is the proper word, but I'll get to that in a moment, actually, because one of our current GMs decided to give himself kind of a fun name. And so with that being said, we decided to create these two. Somehow it came up during the development that we would create two games playing simultaneously. We had enough people interested, and someone thought, well, wouldn't it be cool if we had two crews and there was sort of this like almost a race, or at the very least the actions of one crew would affect the experiences of the other crew and vice versa. So each of us might be on different missions, or we might be on the same mission, we won't know. But what happens with the events of one crew is definitely going to affect the story for the other crew as well. So it's going to go back and forth. So two amazing GMs slash DMs, because we all met because we all geek out about D&D as well. So Rob B. Rowling and the _bad DM are both our DMs. So Steven Garcia and Rob are these great DMs. They're just amazing guys, and they decided to helm this first story arc here we're using the Edge of the Empire system under Fantasy Flight Games kind of umbrella. So they decided they would run these two concurrent games. And so we've come up with the name. We all have ships. Both crews have a ship. And we came up with the names of the ships. And that's sort of how we're distinguishing the two crews. So the crew that I'm on as Zarko Cruz, our ship is called Second Sunrise. The other ship is called Halcyon Days, and I'll probably do some similar kind of crew log. Man, it can't be a crew log because I'm not on their crew, but some kind of a recap or something, so fill in some great stuff and some reactions from their game as well as we go by, as the game starts to develop and we get a little further into it. And right now I'm just going to focus in on our game. So with our first session, we're sort of learning the system. None of us is like super familiar with this game yet, so we're sort of learning as we play. A few of us, for instance, Seal, that is one crit wonder, he's played quite a bit, he's run a little bit, but he's still not like super familiar with the game. He is for sure the sort of resident expert, and so he kind of is helping us understand the rules and make sure we're sort of following track with how that goes. And of course, Steven is an amazing DM. He runs the Not Quite Heroes game, which is an incredible podcast. If you haven't checked that out, please go. I've talked about them before. It's one of my favorite podcasts. Their game is amazing. And if in coincidentally, we actually have, so Rob plays one of the characters, Gale, in that podcast, and he's also running the second crew, Halcyon Days, so he's the GM for the second crew in our game. And also Wade from Not Quite Heroes is playing one of the players on the second crew. So we have a bunch of the Not Quite Heroes group in our Tabletop Galaxy group as well here, which is kind of cool. It's a neat little crossover. We're all friends, so it was really fun for them to step up and get involved with this, and they are making it awesome already. So Steven decided that he was going to call himself the Space DM. So I absolutely love that. And man, right from the beginning, he has just started an amazing story right out of the gate. We kind of had a hot start where someone came rushing into the bar that we were gathered in and was like, help, I'm in trouble kind of thing. And hopefully you've watched the first session. There may be some spoilers here. If not, definitely go watch that, and you'll enjoy, I'm sure, all of our antics. Now, once that person ran in, things got underway right away. Okay, so let me lay down the characters on our crew, right? So we have myself, I'm playing Zarko Cruz. We also have Niffer playing, Niffer on Twitter, playing Ellie. And we have Nick from the Roll Initiative crew. He is playing Kane. And we have, of course, one Crit Wonder playing Vosk. Okay, so this is our crew. And what's been amazing so far is just in session 1, everybody's sort of personality already sort of came to the fore. They really nicely, we just fell into our roles perfectly. We have this really fun chemistry in this group. And it almost feels like an ensemble cast kind of thing straight out of the gate. Like session 1, it feels as if we've been playing with each other for a while, which was really fun and amazing to see for me and to experience for me. I really love, so immediately in our first session, I have discovered, this is my perspective, so I have seen that I think Ellie has a really great ability to sort of size up situations very quickly, which is great because she's kind of the face of the group, right? So she's the one that's going to be sort of maybe interfacing with other people. Of course, she is, she's sort of our face. We're calling her our face, whatever. So she's the one that's going to negotiate for us and possibly intimidate for us. And we got to see some of that later into the session. She's really kind of a little... So her background is that she is the daughter of some people, so a husband and wife in the Black Sun. Her father is sort of maybe a minor crime lord or something like this. The Black Sun is this intergalactic crime organization, right? So we're sort of on the run, or at least she is on the run from the Black Sun. And so we're sort of seeing some of that come through. Like, she doesn't want to be a part of the Black Sun. That's why she left. That's why we're part of a crew together. And yet, and still, we see that she sort of got this kind of skill at manipulating people or reading people really quickly, and it was just awesome the way Ellie played, the way Nif played Ellie, I should say, because I was just surprised and amazed and thrilled, because I love when a character is able to role play a sort of, I don't want to say sophisticated. That's not quite the thought I had in my mind while I was kind of going back and listening to the session again. She has a very quick mind, which is incredible. I absolutely commend Nif in this, in that she was able to really quickly assess the situations and sort of play off of the NPC that Steven presented her with really beautifully. So their interaction was awesome, and it like quickly developed the story. On top of that, so you have Kane, who's this he's sort of this rigid military guy who is on the run from both the Empire and the Rebels. So he's sort of got some bad trouble with both. And he's this sort of, on a certain level, he's this kind of like prim and proper guy. But the way Nick's playing him is amazing, because he sort of came out as this slightly hard-edged dude, which is awesome. Again, very prim, very formal, which I love. But at the same time, he's got this like total action hero vibe. It's just awesome. He came up with some great one-liners that just makes this character really enchanting and engaging. Like, we sort of decided in our session 0 that maybe Zarko and Kane have a little bit of beef, right? And that's probably because Kane is a way better fighter than Zarko is, and Kane sort of got one up on Zarko from the beginning, right? So that is put a little sour spot in Zarko's kind of, he's a little bit of a sourpuss about it. So that's fun to play, and I really felt that going into session 1. But then during session 1, it was kind of like Zarko's kind of got this, I think he's sort of gotten this like love to hate attitude about Kane, because there were some really cool things that happened in the session that made me, Gregory, go, wow, that was awesome. And it was sort of hard not to kind of play that into how Zarko is seeing this guy. It's like, it's sort of this thing where it's like, Kane has skills, and I think Zarko really respects that. Like he's a thirst for knowledge. Zarko wants to learn about everything. He wants to learn everything he can about everything. That's what got him actually connected with Vosk in the beginning, because Vosk is this like very skilled mechanic, and sort of, Zarko was like, oh, you know how to fix stuff. I want to learn from you. And they sort of got this kind of vibe going. I'll get to Vosk in just a moment. Let me stick with Kane here. So Zarko sees Kane, and Kane is like lethally effective, and I think Zarko begrudgingly admires that, which, he doesn't want to, but he can't help himself. And also, Zarko is sort of like, he kind of knows how to take care of himself, and he sees that Kane has a very good, like, again, he's, kind of military mind. He's trained for combat. He has an understanding of like how to assess a situation strategically and that kind of stuff. And Zarko likes that and admires that. And so there's this sort of thing of like, I don't like you, but I respect you. I think that's kind of what's happening with Zarko and Kane. I'm absolutely loving it. And with Nyx, again, his one-liners and the way he's kind of playing Kane as this sort of like really formal guy, I just absolutely love this character. And then we have Vosk, all right? So this is the third member of the crew, or fourth member of the crew, if you want to say myself. I don't want to say I'm first, because really it was Ellie. Ellie got the ship, so she should be the first crew member. She got me involved. She got Zarko, my character Zarko, involved. So I guess I was the second crew member. Then we went and had a run-in with Kane, and finally found our way to meet up with Vosk because we needed a mechanic. And Vosk is somebody that Zarko, my character, had sort of had this background relationship with, or it at least we had met when Zarko was out in the Outer Rim the first time. And so, again, Zarko, I think I'm learning that Zarko really respects people with skills and talents. Like, he likes that, he admires it, and he wants to learn from them. And so when he saw that Vosk sort of has this way with machines, maybe he could sort of talk with machines, or he knows machines or something. We haven't gotten to see that yet, how One Crit Wonder is going to play that out as Vosk. But I have this sort of, I've sort of figured in my head that however that appears in the game, that's what Vosk likes about... Sorry, that's what Zarko, rather, likes about Vosk. Vosk might just tolerate Zarko. I have no idea yet, but for sure we got him involved in this crew somehow. Maybe we promised we were going to help him pay off his debts because, in Edge of the Empire, in Fantasy Flight games, everybody has obligation. An obligation plays out in the story where it's like, you've got some background stuff that you gotta deal with, and Ellie was the first ones that came up. So in our session 1, we had this experience where a bounty hunter came looking for her, and that was amazing. Again, the way she handled that situation and sort of like moved the chess pieces. Like she kind of took on this air of importance, which is awesome because, again, she's this, like, she was being groomed by her father, by her parents, to become this, like, important person within the Dark Sun crime syndicate. She doesn't want to do that because of the bad stuff they do, but she still was able to kind of take on this air with this bounty hunter and manipulate him a little bit with words, and it gave my character this opening that I have the quick draw ability for my character, which basically I had no idea that Zarko was going to be like this until we started playing the session 1, which was why it was so much fun for me. I guess he's kind of trigger happy. I think he's a little skittish, right? So it might come a little bit from fear, but he doesn't like to get... I don't think he likes to get the jump on him. And the fact that Kane was able to do it is, like, grating on him. So it's like, at least for a little while, I think Zarko is going to be in this mindset of, like, nobody's going to get one up on me. So he took the first shot when we were in this bar. We had a barroom fight, of course. Vosk fell in the middle. We had a bad roll and fell slipped in the bar and fell and dropped drinks everywhere, which kind of got combat started in the bar, which was super fun. And I think so Zarko was basically, my character was just like, uh-oh, stuff's going down, quick, and took the first shot, right? Same thing later in the session, we go and we're being confronted by Ellie's obligation, by this bounty hunter that's come looking for Ellie and for the ship. And once again, and this was beautiful, we used one of our light side points, which is that it's an element in the game that we can use to sort of manipulate the story a little bit. And so we decided we sort of had this kind of like signal that we had, whatever, we're able to sort of communicate non-verbally, and Ellie basically said, okay, come follow me, but, stay ready for when I get things going. And so she was able to sort of distract, again, as I said, distract and confuse and use words to get the attention of the bounty hunter. And that left this beautiful opening for Zarko to, again, use his quick draw ability and take a shot at this bounty hunter, which was a success. And it was huge. It was just, or actually maybe it was just advantage. No, that's right. It wasn't a success, but it had enough advantages to be able to disarm him. So so the way that scene broke out was that the bounty hunter was able to disarm Ellie. And because of that, that kind of brought this huge amount of tension to the scene where we were all like, oh no, what's about to happen? And then we were able to turn the tables on the bounty hunter, and Zarko was able to do the same thing to him and disarm him. And then Kane follows. Kane is like lethal. He killed two of the thugs in the bar in the first scene or first combat, let's say, and then the second time he did it again. He's got this blaster carbine rifle, so he whips that out and mows down a couple more of these bounty hunter thugs. So we're very quickly learning that so Ellie is very, very good at assessing a situation and then being like a chess player and sort of setting the board. It's really cool. Really, really cool. Then we have Kane, who is just like, oh my gosh, don't let him get his sights on you because he is going to do some damage. Now we have, unfortunately, we haven't gotten to see much from Vosk. Vosk was... He got some shots. This is the difference between the player and the character, right? Because One Crit Wonder is an amazing player, he was able to really massage the story and like set the stage during the gameplay so well. Again, he fell on the floor, which was funny, but it got things rolling in such a way that it gave us a huge advantage because now he's a distraction. He drew the attention of the thugs and all this kind of stuff. Then he also got a shot off, which was a further distraction and that, right? And then he also is sort of moving the story of like, okay, we're trying to protect this woman, right? And he realizes like, hey, we're out in the open. Let's not like hide when we're out in the open. Let's be casual. Let's kind of like, so he's constantly moving the story. So I like Vosk. I'm getting this feeling from Vosk like he's not the new kid on the block, which is really cool. That's sort of the impression I've got from Vosk. He's got this like sense of like he's sort of been there and done that, which is really cool. It's sort of almost like he's the veteran in the group. And that is super cool. I can't wait to see how that plays out. Again, he understands the ship. He was the only one that sustained an injury, so I think we'll see. Maybe when the dice are a little more in his favor, maybe One Crit Wonder has some better luck with the dice rolling. We'll probably see some really cool stuff from Vosk in our next session or two. And I want to learn more about all of these characters. And I guess we found out, for me, Zarko is a little trigger happy, and like he is just... Again, he's a scout, right? So he is like ready for action. He doesn't come across that way. He tries to be real cool and laid back, but when it's about when action is called for, he's going to be the first to act. So, what a fun session. I'm stoked about session 2 on Wednesday. I'm really excited as well. Session 2 for Halcyon Days tomorrow. I can't wait to see what that's going to be like. So please check us out. Tabletop Galaxy on Twitter. You'll be able to find links to our YouTube and our Twitch and all that stuff. We're having fun, having a blast. We'd love to have you join us. I will tell you all about it. And by the way, there's a really cool thing I want to mention on the D&D front that you might want to know and check out. I'm going to talk about it tomorrow because today they released a new Unearthed Arcana, and my first skim through it, I think there's some really cool stuff in this Unearthed Arcana. So tune in tomorrow to hear all about it. Keep rolling 20s until I see it at a table someday. Or if you're playing Fantasy Flight games, make sure they're triumphs. And remember, it's your game. Play your way.